In this episode, we'll dive into the story of Baby B. Bra, a name that has been making waves across social media and YouTube over the past month. Known for his bold claims about his gang-affiliated past, Baby B. Bra has sparked both skepticism and validation from various sources. While some dispute his accounts, many confirm his experiences. Even those who disagree on certain details acknowledge one thing: he stands on business in real life, early life, and gang affiliation. Born around 1991, Baby B. Bra grew up in Los Angeles, in a neighborhood controlled by the notorious Denver Lane Gangsta Bloods DLGB. Formed in the 1970s, the Denver Lane Bloods emerged as an independent gang, refusing to align with the Crips like many surrounding groups. This decision led to a deep-seated rivalry, particularly with the Hoovers, including the 107 and 112 Hoovers, who were in close proximity to their territory. The Denver Lane Bloods have a significant history in their turf, producing several well-known figures in both the streets and the rap scene, one of whom was B. Bra. Before his death in 2003, B. Bra made a lasting impact on his community and the music industry. Baby B. Bra, though just a child at the time, inherited that legendary name and carried it with fierce aggression, making a name for himself in the juvenile system, county jail, and later, prison. Known for his willingness to shoot and fight, he became an all-around gangster, but his violent lifestyle ultimately led to a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Criminal activity and life sentence. Baby B. Bra and an associate named Kilo were both active members of the Denver Lane Gangsta Bloods. Their crime spree escalated in early 2016. January 17, 2016, Bra and Kilo carjacked a man named Edward at gunpoint. 35 minutes later, they used Edward's stolen car in a drive-by shooting on Hoover territory, targeting a group in front of a liquor store. They shot a man named Elliot. February 21st, 2016, Bra opened fire from his car at another vehicle, killing Nate, while a woman named Leticia was also in the car. March 18th, 2016, Kilo shot and killed Kellen, who was riding a mini bike. March 20th, 2016, Bra and Kilo confronted a group of Crips and pulled out their guns. A Crip from the rival gang fired back, but no one was injured. March 21st, 2016, 1 p.m. Bra robbed a man named Dion at gunpoint inside a motel. March 21st, 2016, 11:20 p.m. Bra and Kilo shot and killed Stilo, a known Hoover gang member. Bra was arrested a month later while driving a car that matched the surveillance footage from one of the shootings. Evidence and conviction. Several key pieces of evidence linked Baby B. Bra to the crimes. Witness testimony. A witness named Samantha identified the car used in the shootings and confirmed Bra as a shooter. Cell phone records. Tower data placed Bra's phone in the area shortly before the crime occurred. Forensic evidence. A ballistics expert confirmed that .380 caliber shell casings from multiple crime scenes matched the same weapon used in the murders of Elliot and Stilo. Undercover sting and confession. Months later, in August 2016, law enforcement set up an undercover operation involving an associate of Bra and Kilo, Wolf, from the A-Town Park Bloods. Wolf was placed in a jail cell with an undercover agent posing as an inmate. Their entire conversation was recorded, during which Wolf discussed multiple murders, including the killing of Stilo. He also implicated Bra and Kilo, revealing that police had linked his DNA to both crime scenes. At one point, Wolf even admitted Bra did the whole thing. During the investigation, detectives presented Latia with a lineup of possible suspects. Initially, she was unable to identify the shooter. However, during the trial, she later identified Kilo but not Brazy. Brazy attempted to use his girlfriend as an alibi, but her testimony was dismissed. Her affiliation with the Denver Lane Bloods made her an unreliable witness in the eyes of the court. While in county jail, Brazy developed a reputation for violence and defiance. Reports documented multiple incidents of insubordination, fights, assaults, and possession of shanks, trial threats, and sentencing. On October 7, 2019, during the trial, Wolf's defense counsel reported that Brazy and Kilo had threatened Wolf that morning while they were being transported from jail to court. When questioned, Wolf confirmed, "Yes, I was threatened by Kilo and Brazy that day." Despite these events, the trial proceeded, leading to severe sentences. Wolf, 40 years to life. Kilo, 2 life sentences without parole, plus 225 years to life, and an additional 14 years and 8 months. Brazy, 2 life sentences without parole, plus 227 years to life, and another 29 years and 8 months. Brazy's influence on YouTube. By January 2025, a YouTube channel called The Who's Who emerged, featuring Brazy sharing stories from jail and the streets. In these videos, Brazy not only praised certain gang members, but also exposed others for what he considered fake behavior. This content rubbed some people the wrong way, particularly for Extra, who had built a tough reputation on social media. Brazy recounted a fight between the two, stating, "For the record, it was all Crips in the day room with me when I fought for Extra. He came into my building, talking like he was the toughest. But I told him, we gotta get down. When it happened, he was bleeding. The cops were knocking on the door, and he walked over, leaking everywhere. He never talked about that fight. He acts like he beat up everyone in county." In response, for Extra told his version of the story, claiming he had the upper hand. "I was already pressing someone else when Brazy stepped up, saying he didn't want to feel like a buster. So I said, you can get that fade." We fought, and I got him good, socked him up, hit his ribs. He backed up, started spinning. In the end, nobody got knocked out, but I definitely handled mine. Ongoing YouTube beef. As Brazy's videos gained traction, he clashed with more people online, including 600, another well-known figure. Addressing the drama, 600 stated, "Let's get this clear. I ain't got no problem with no Bloods, no Denver Lanes, and I don't even got real beef with Brazy. But until he clears up what he said about 600, we got an issue." Addressing the situation, people started telling me, "He's talking about the hood, bro." At first, I didn't believe it. I thought they were mistaken, but they kept insisting, "No, bro, he's talking about the hood. You can't go back there." I just wanted some clarity. Like, what are we really doing here? If there's an issue, we need to address it. I was even willing to demand an apology before deciding how to move forward. Look, I always give people the benefit of the doubt. Even my own homies. I play fair. If someone is a buster or a rat, I won't expose them unless they come at me first. But Brazy, you started this. I don't know if someone told you I was a buster, or that I was scared, or that I can't go certain places. Maybe you've just been too caught up in the internet, and that's how you think this is supposed to go. But check this out, you've been exposing a lot of neighborhoods, and that's fine. Like I said, do your thing. But if you're going to expose people, keep it real. Don't pick and choose who to call out. Keep it 100 across the board. Calling for fairness. You were up on D, right? You were with about 7 or 8 of your homies, right? D ran when things got real, but you didn't. I give you that. You stood your ground and handled your business. But see, I don't pick and choose who I expose. If one of my homies is a buster or a rat, I call it like it is. I don't selectively politic. I keep it the same for everybody. So, if you're going to be on here exposing people, do it right. Keep your credibility intact. Don't twist the narrative. Brazy's growing influence on YouTube. Brazy is making waves on YouTube, telling his stories and sharing a side of everything. His influence is growing, but the question remains, is he keeping it real, or is he just picking and choosing what to expose? The Crips are a primarily African-American alliance of street gangs that are based in the coastal regions of Southern California. Founded in Los Angeles, California in 1969, mainly by Raymond Washington and Stanley Williams, the Crips began as an alliance between 2 autonomous gangs and developed into a loosely connected network of individual sets, often engaged in open warfare with one another. Its members have traditionally worn blue clothing since around 1973. The Crips are one of the largest and most violent associations of street gangs in the United States, with an estimated 30,000 to 35,000 members in 2008. The gang's members have been involved in murders, robberies, and drug dealing, among other crimes. They have a long and bitter rivalry with the Bloods. Some self-identified Crips have been convicted of federal racketeering. As with most criminal street gangs, Crips have benefited monetarily from illicit activities, such as illegal gambling, drug dealing, pimping, larceny, and robbery. Crips also profit from extorting local drug dealers who are not members of the gang. Along with profitable rackets such as these, they also participate in vandalism and property crime, often for gang pride reasons or simply enjoyment. This can include public graffiti, tagging, and joyriding in stolen vehicles. The gang's current primary source of income is street-level drug distribution. However, many Crip members also make notable amounts of funds from the black market sale of illicit firearms. The gang's size and power was greatly augmented by the profits from the street sale of crack, cocaine, throughout the 1980s. The gang's initial phase of growth and popularity was due to the explosion of crack cocaine in the United States during the 1980s. The Crips became popular throughout southern Los Angeles as more youth gangs joined. At one point, they outnumbered non-Crip gangs by 3 to 1, sparking disputes with non-Crip gangs, including the LA Brims, Athens Park Boys, the Bishops, the Drill Company, and the Denver Lanes. By 1971, the gang's notoriety had spread across Los Angeles. By 1971, a gang on Piru Street in Compton, California, known as the Piru Street Boys, formed and associated itself with the Crips as a set. After 2 years of peace, a feud began between the Pirates and the other Crip sets. It later turned violent as gang warfare ensued between former allies. This battle continued, and by 1973, the Pirates wanted to end the violence and called a meeting with other gangs targeted by the Crips. After a long discussion, the Pirates broke all connections to the Crips and started an organization that would later be called the Bloods, a street gang infamous for its rivalry with the Crips. Since then, other conflicts and feuds were started between many of the remaining Crip sets. As well as feuding with Bloods, they also fight each other. For example, the Rolling 60s Neighborhood Crips and 83 Gangster Crips have been rivals since 1979. In Watts, the Grape Street Crips and the P.J. Watts Crips have feuded so much that the P.J. Watts Crips even teamed up with local Blood set, the Bounty Hunter Bloods, to fight the Grape Street Crips. In the mid-1990s, the Hoover Crips' rivalries and wars with other Crip sets caused them to become independent and drop the Crip name, calling themselves the Hoover Criminals. Bloods, street gang based in Los Angeles that is involved in drugs, theft, and murder, among other criminal activities. The predominantly African-American gang is traditionally associated with the color red. It is nationally known for its rivalry with the Crips. The gang was formed in the early 1970s as the Crips spread throughout Los Angeles. Various gangs, notably those around Piru Street, refused to join the Crips and instead banded together for protection. Within this loose alliance, many of the gangs remained independent, and infighting was not uncommon. However, they were united in their opposition to the Crips. They eventually took the name Bloods and adopted the color red to distinguish from the Crips blue. Members of the Bloods also embraced other unique identifiers, including various hand signs and physical markings, notably a dog paw tattoo or brand. 3 circles often made from the heated barrel of the gun, that is sometimes called triple OS. During the 1970s, the Bloods began to expand throughout Los Angeles, though their numbers were significantly less than those of the Crips. This contributed to the Bloods becoming particularly aggressive in their recruitment, and they developed a reputation for violence. Like their rivals, the Bloods began to focus on drugs with the rise of crack cocaine in the 1980s. The shift helped the gang spread beyond California. In the early 1990s, the East Coast Bloods, also called the United Blood Nation, was established by prison inmates at Rikers Island, New York, and it became a significant presence, especially in New York City, where they outnumbered Crips. By the early 21st century, there were upwards of 20,000 people affiliated with the Bloods across the country. The Bloods' intense rivalry with the Crips was well documented in popular culture. The 1988 film Colors notably focus on the two gangs, and subsequent movies, as well as books and songs chronicle the rivalry. The Bloods are a primarily African-American street gang, which was founded in Los Angeles, California. The gang is widely known for its rivalry with the Crips. It is identified by the red color worn by its members and by particular gang symbols, including distinctive hand signs. The Bloods comprise various subgroups known as sets, among which significant differences exist, such as colors, clothing operations, and political ideas that may be in open conflict with each other. Since the gang's creation, it has branched throughout the United States. The Bloods gang was formed initially to compete against the influence of the Crips in Los Angeles. The rivalry originated in the late 1960s when Raymond Washington and other Crips attacked Sylvester Scott and Benson Owens, two students at Centennial High School in Compton, California. As a result, Scott formed the Piru Street Boys, the first Bloods gang. Owens subsequently established the West Piru Gang. The Bloods was initially formed to provide members protection from the Crips. Many of the non-Crip gangs used to call one another Blood. On March 21, 1972, shortly after a concert featuring Wilson Pickett and Curtis Mayfield, 20 youths belonging to the Crips attacked and robbed Robert Ballou Jr. outside the Hollywood Palladium. Ballou was beaten to death after refusing to give up his leather jacket. The sensational media coverage of the crime and the continued assaults by the Crips increased their notoriety. Several non-Crips gangs formed during this period were no match for the Crips and became concerned with the escalating Crip attacks. The Pirates, Black P, Stones, Athens Park Boys, and other gangs not aligned with the Crips often clashed with them. On June 5, 1972, 3 months after Ballou's murder, Frederick Lil Country Garrett was murdered by a West Side Crip. This marked the first Crips murder against another gang member and motivated non-Crip gangs to align with each other. The Brim struck back on August 4, 1972, by murdering Thomas Ellis, an original West Side Crip. By late 1972, the Pirates held a meeting in their neighborhood to discuss growing Crip pressure and intimidation. Several gangs that felt victimized by the Crips joined the Pirates to create a new federation of non-Crips neighborhoods. This alliance became the Bloods. The Pirates are therefore considered the founders of the Bloods. By 1978, there were 15 Blood sets. Crips still outnumbered Bloods 3-1. To assert their power, the Bloods became increasingly violent. During the 1980s, Bloods began distributing crack cocaine in Los Angeles. Blood membership soon rose dramatically, as did the number of states in which they were present. These increases were primarily driven by profits from crack cocaine distribution. The huge profits allowed members to relocate to other cities and states. Bloods is a universal term used to refer to West Coast Bloods and United Blood Nation, UBN, also known as the East Coast Bloods. These two groups are traditionally distinct, but both call themselves Bloods. UBN started in 1993 in Rikers Island's George Machin Detention Center, GMDC, to form protection from the Latin Kings and Nitas who were targeting African-American gang members. UBN is a loose confederation of predominantly African-American street gangs. Once released from prison, UBN leaders went back to their New York neighborhoods, where they retained the Bloods' name and started recruiting members. UBN has between 7,000 and 15,000 members in the eastern U.S. It makes its income through various criminal activities, including distribution of crack cocaine and smuggling drugs into prison. Bloods are a loosely structured association of smaller street gangs, known as sets, that have a common gang culture. Each set has its own leader and generally operates independently from the others. Most Bloods members are African American males, although some sets have recruited female members as well as members from other races and ethnic backgrounds. Members range in age from early teens to mid-20s, but some hold leadership positions into their late 20s and occasionally 30s. There is no known national leader of the Bloods, but individual Blood sets have a hierarchical leadership structure with identifiable levels of membership. These levels of membership indicate status within a gang. A leader, typically an older member with a more extensive criminal background, runs each set. A set leader is not elected, but rather asserts himself by developing and managing the gang's criminal enterprises through his reputation for violence and ruthlessness and his charisma. The majority of set members are called soldiers, who are typically 16 to 22. Soldiers have a strong sense of commitment to their set and are extremely dangerous because of their willingness to use violence both to obtain the respect of gang members and to respond to any person who disrespects the set. Associates are not full members, but identify with a gang and take part in various criminal activities. To the extent that women belong to the gang, They are usually associates and tend to be used by their male counterparts to carry weapons, hold drugs, or prostitute themselves to make money for their set. Recruitment is often influenced by a recruit's environment. Bloods recruit heavily among school-age youth in poor African American communities. Gang membership offers youth a sense of belonging and protection. It also offers immediate gratification to economically disadvantaged youth who desire the trappings of gang life, such as gold jewelry, cash, and expensive sports clothing. Blood sets have a loose structure of ranks based on how long a person has been involved with a particular set. The ranks do not signify leadership or dominance over the set. They merely signify respect for those who have been in the set longer and have survived the longest. Those with a higher rank do not have a position of authority over those of lower rank. Bloods members commonly call themselves CKs, Crip Killer. Mobs member Bloods, Dogs, or Ballers, meaning drug dealers. The gang has a membership of between approximately 15,000 and 20,000 active in 123 cities and in 33 U.S. states, primarily on the West Coast and, to a lesser extent, the Great Lakes region and the Southeast. Gangs including Bloods have been documented in the U.S. military, in both U.S. and overseas bases. Blood sets also operate in the Canadian cities of Montreal and Toronto.